The fix is in, everybody. The fix is in. You need to listen to this video because the fix is in, and I'm going to tell you that the American dream is alive and well. You need to watch this video. Turn off your phone. Get rid of all distractions because what I'm about to tell you is going to make a big difference in your life. One of the things that I've been doing lately, and it's because I get a lot of people ask me about advice. A lot of people think that I know a lot of stuff. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many friends that are even the same age as me will call me up, and I think it's just that they see something inside of me where they'll ask questions about things, and I'll be like, I would think that they would know that. And then I have employees and younger people that I run across, and then they'll ask me questions, and I take the time to make sure to answer their questions because when I was younger, people took the time to answer my questions. And one of the things that what we're going to talk about in this video, this stuff is very important because what I see happening is that there's what I see is there's like when you want to a lot of people don't know this, but I'm gonna let you know that I'm also a certified hypnotherapist, and when I went to school on how to hypnotize people, there was a technique that we used where we and it's used for all hypnosis, is that what you do is you make a person think of something else so you can put something into their subconscious mind to make them to constantly in a way you can to make them think about something else consciously while you're putting something subconsciously in their mind. Commercials used to do this, and they made it illegal for them to do that. It's illegal to do it in music, even though it is still being done in a sense with music by repeating. They're putting something subconsciously into people's heads. So if you listen to music that is about violence, over time, you will, not everyone, but you will have be susceptible to acting out what you know deep down inside subconsciously. That's why we see a lot of people that listen to music that talks about violence, and they listen to it over and over, and then all of a sudden you start to see them act that way. They may not act out, but they'll still act that way. And what I'm starting to see more, I'm seeing these techniques used on people, and I promise you this video is not using this technique, but I see this technique being used with politics. I see it being used underhandedly with commercials by entertaining people and then slipping a message in there underneath. I see it even at sports events. I see it being used at by employers by using this technique and the way that they use it is that they threaten your job, and then subconsciously you have a fear that pops up, and by doing that is not by directly threatening you. What they're doing is they're putting out into the waves of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And I'm not saying that a business owner doesn't have a right to say what's acceptable and not acceptable when it comes to running their business, but there's being certain signals that are being sent out there saying that are actually that are actually stepping on people's rights. And if it was reversed, you would see a larger outcry with that. Also, I've been seeing a lot of apps that have been being promoted, and I was wondering why would certain apps get a lot of popularity in the African American community, Spanish community, and in poor or lower income white communities, and I put the pieces together. And when I looked at the design of the apps design is great. They're good. They're useful. They're needed. But the advertisement on what they're doing to get people to use the apps is where the hypnosis is coming in. The apps, and I'm not going to mention the name of these apps, but the apps are saying words like it takes too much. More people are renting apartments now because they can't save the money to buy a house. People don't have a down payment to buy a house. People don't. People are not using banks anymore because they don't have the ability to save any money to put into an account. Believe it or not, these are subconscious suggestions to people to make people want to quit. If you hear that over and over in the news, if you see that with apps, and then if you're participating with those apps and they're constantly giving you that message, you're going to quit. Success is not easy. When you become successful, number one, you're going to have a story, and that story is going to talk about the ups and downs that it took for you to get to where you want to be. When you become successful, some people, friends and family and people that you knew, will think that you were special when at the time before you were successful, they thought that you were exactly like them. When you become successful, a lot of people are going to talk about you. They're going to say that you think you're better than everybody else. They're going to ask you for money constantly. And if you don't give them money, they're going to say you don't care about them, whatever. You're going to hear all types of things. But when you are on your way to success, it's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and you're going to have a lot of things change constantly in your mind, because what you're doing is you're putting together a puzzle on how you want your life to end up. And when you start doing that, to be successful, there's some people that you're going to have to push aside, and there's some people that you're going to keep close to you, and people will start revealing themselves over time when you are focused on becoming successful. So you keep this in mind, that when you are trying your best to become successful, you're going to have to get rid of people that don't have your best interest at heart, and some of those people are going to be very close to you. Another thing that I'm seeing out there that is subconscious is insurance companies, and I don't know why they're doing this, but insurance companies are prepping people to start to buy these policies that are what I call one-time insurance, and they're not even going to cover people for the what their health needs are going to be. But what they're going to do is, if you buy one of these rip-off policies, you're going to when you go to get insurance, when you go to get help, you might find out that particular health problem that you have is not even covered in your policy. One of the great things about the Affordable Care Act is that it just anticipated across the board that anyone that was using the insurance could have any issue could come up for them, because you have people that come up with cancer, and you have people that break a leg, you have people that have brain aneurysm, you have people that have cholesterol problems, you have people that have heart problems, all of these different issues that you can't anticipate which one you're going to have. But these cheap policies are actually making people anticipate and buy a policy on something that they believe that they're going to have, and they're not a medical professional. We are not medical professionals. We don't know what could possibly come about in the future when it comes to problems with our health. So you need to be very careful when it comes to picking insurance in the future, because they're going to be changing a lot of stuff. And these are things that I believe are actually making it consciously putting a lot of pressure on people, and subconsciously making people want to quit and just fit in wherever they're going to be able to fit in. And let me tell you, you have a choice. You don't have to live the way that people are telling you you have to live. You have a right to buy a home. You have a right to pay that home off. You have a right to get insurance that you believe that you and your family needs, and you have a right to not be under pressure when it comes to working at any place. You have a right to start your own business and not be under pressure to provide services for your community. And and we've seen all of this stuff before, and I want to provide a level of comfort to everyone that's watching this video, is that everything that you see happening with the government, everything that you see happening with people all over the place, these things that happened before, and there's no reason to fear. As a matter of fact, I think that the community is in a better position to be able to take care of itself if people get their minds right and start to really think about advancing themselves. And we can do this, number one, by taking full responsibility for our own actions, and that will multiply with people taking responsibility and making the community more responsible, and put us in a position to move forward. Because if you have a clear mind, you'll be able to think, you'll be able to do the right thing, and you'll be able to take care of your family and make sure that you're moving forward in the right direction. Another thing I want to talk about is language. Excuse me one second, let me my phone here. Another thing I want to talk about is language. And I had when I was reading a book the other day, and I was looking at how people become successful, and I was thinking, and then looking at some of the other things that are out there, where I see where you take an instruction from someone, and when you try to apply that instruction, if it could be for anything that you are trying to achieve, it could be to lose weight, it could be improving yourself personally, to have a better outlook on life, it could be to become successful, it could be to write a book, it could be anything. What I'm starting to see is, and I had heard this before, but I'm seeing it more. And oh yeah, what made it go full circle for me was I was listening to a radio show, and they had talked about this test where it was an IQ test, and they had proved that IQ tests are culturally biased. And what that means by whoever puts the test together, that group will see the biggest result. And it's because culturally they understand the language. And what I mean by language is not like English, Spanish, like that. What I mean by is if you go to a person in our community and you say what's up, they're gonna know what you mean by that. If you say it in a certain tone, they're gonna know what you mean by that. If you go to other communities, you say what's up, they might say right back to you what's up. Like, they're not gonna know that you actually wanted an answer from saying what's up. Like, hey, what's up? Not much. How you doing? You say that in other communities, they may not answer the same way. That's what I mean by language. I mean a cultural condition of people's of understanding of what they mean by the language. Let me give you a quick example. Well, on that test, they had one that was made by an African American, and he did the test, and he tested people from other ethnic groups, and the African Americans scored a 90. People in other ethnic groups scored a 50%. And so that shows that these tests, it doesn't matter, it just matters on who puts the test together. Now let me tell you one that was a direct, where me and my wife saw this directly when it came to one of our children. She was taking a test, And on the test, she was, I think it was to be in first grade. It was just a test, aptitude test that she was taking, and they had asked her, "What do you do when it's raining outside?" Well, our daughter said, "I go in the house." Can you believe that that was the wrong answer for the test? They expected her to say, "Go get a raincoat." Well, let me tell you, my daughter at no time ever owned a raincoat. So that's a cultural uh, answer on that. More people, especially from our community, that do not go out and get raincoats. More than likely, they come in the house. I believe that everyone goes in the house, but culturally, there are some people that do put on a raincoat if it's raining outside. So that's what I mean by language. And so when it comes to becoming successful and listening to people, you have to be careful. Even when comes to repairing your credit and getting out of debt, you have to be careful because we experience certain problems that other people do not experience. We tackle certain issues in a way that other people don't experience. And it's not to put down anybody. What it is that it's just showing you that we do have our own uniqueness, and that you need to make sure that you get information from people that are like you or that understand what you're going through. That's very important, because what you'll find is that if you don't do that when you're working your way through certain problems, you are going to bump your head and you're going to be unsuccessful. Look at all of the people that have went to school, that have gotten college degrees, went to go get jobs, and they found themselves at a disadvantage. And it was because even though they did everything that they were supposed to do when they went to that job, they did not understand the culture of that job. So it was like that language, how to manage themselves in that environment, was very stressful. It put them under a very stressful situation. Moving forward, what I see it and what I know you need to start focusing on, if you're going to fix and not if you're going to fix your problems when it comes to credit, and if you're going to do things to put yourself and your family in a position to thrive in the future, because the American dream is alive and well, you're going to have to get your credit resolved, and you're going to have to do it in a system that understands your needs, because there are tons of companies that are out there that are doing credit repair. But what we find, and I know it just from the way that our customers reacted when we were doing these services for them, or the messages that they send us back with our new program, the membership program, is that these are things that if you were to ask the question that way to a company that is not ran by someone from your community, they would probably throw away your email. They would probably say, call that person back and tell them that they don't want them as a customer anymore. It's because we have a totally different experience than other people, and that's not to down anyone. That's not to cause any controversy. What it is, what it is. So if you're looking to change your situation, you need to sign up for my membership program. It's only $1 to start, $19.99 per month. Use it as long as you need to use it to repair your credit and get out of debt. I'm adding videos constantly to the membership side of the program. I'm adding information about creating wealth. As a matter of fact, after I finish this video, I'm going to be talking about business opportunities and how to structure how to start a business from where you're at now. Because if you remember my story, I don't know if you ever heard my story. In 1990, I got out of the military and my wife and I moved to Wisconsin with only $1,500. That was all we had, and I had a Nissan pickup truck. I did not go to college. I did like a few months in junior college, and I was just out of the United States Army. I was in the Army for 2 years, and everything that I learned, I taught myself, and with the help of people that I just met as I moved forward in throughout the community. And but in 1990, we started our first company, an advertising magazine publication, and we still own that company to this day. And we taught ourselves everything about graphic design, about selling, everything. I have a lot of employees that work for that business, and I pay them well. That's actually one of the biggest things that I'm proud of, is that with that business and our other companies, that we've been able to hire people from the community and treat them with respect, and they're given an opportunity because of their education deficiencies. They were given an opportunity because I know how it feels and what what it takes to be able to raise a person up and help them out, and be able to get them opportunity, even though they maybe didn't have the education that people would require. But we were able to give people that opportunity because people helped us out when we needed help. We wanted to be able to help people out when they needed help, and that's really what everything that I do is about helping people. But one thing that our community has to keep in mind is that you can't expect people to help people if people do not allow us to charge for our products and services. Because if you don't, you're actually messing up the cycle of circulating dollars in our community. Because when I put my products and services out there, people pay my company, and I pay my employees, and my employees might buy from a company that you work for, or they might be buying from a company that you might start. So it circulates. So you need to understand that. So I don't think that it's wrong of me to ask anyone that needs the help with credit or getting out of debt to become a member of my program, because I think that that's the right thing to do. And I've given you a motive on why you should become a member, because it's going to give you the tools that you're going to need to be able to get yourself in the right position regarding your credit and your debt. So I hope you got a lot out of this video, because it is very important, and I think that you need to start paying close attention to what's being said consciously and subconsciously. You need to listen to the messages and watch out for the hidden messages. So again, this is Stephen Williams, founder and president of thecreditrepairshop.com, and I can't wait to share some information with you the next time. Thank you.